I'm all packed and ready to escape from Saigon, and if you are also interested in exploring the last frontiers of Vietnam, you are here in the right place. I'm Rene, your travel host for this exciting journey, and this is my motorbike for the next 12 weeks which I rented from Jimmy Motorbikes, the top and well-trusted rental shop for motorbike tours and rentals here in the bustling city of Ho Chi Minh. And after my exciting 72 hours in this vibrant city, I'm now starting my first leg around Vietnam by riding from here in Saigon to the town of Thu Dau Mot, which is located around 20 kilometers north of downtown Ho Chi Minh City and in the province of Binh Duong. Then, I'll continue on the QL14 to Dong Xoai City, in the Binh Phuc province and ending today's trip in the city of Gia Nghĩa of the Đắk Nông province. And along the way I will pass the historical Sông Bé Bridge, which was built during the French colonial era and destroyed by the American military in 1969. From there I will traverse on the southern edge of the mighty THÁC Mo Lake, which is adorned with beautiful and pristine natural scenery, that thankfully has not yet been exploited by over-tourism. But before all of these, let's now find the best way to escape the traffic maze out of this mega city. Although I did my homework in selecting the best roads leading out of the urban area, I have to admit that even as a motorbike rider there is unfortunately no real way of avoiding the horrendous outbound traffic situation that is existing here. Moreover, I learned that the city's infrastructure was designed for a much smaller vehicle population and is now struggling to handle the currently well over 12 million vehicles, including motorcycles, cars, trucks and other transportation means that are using these roads every day. And so this is of course causing an ever-rising congestion volumes that is leading to severe gridlock on all the major and secondary roads in and out of this city. But now enough of the grumbling and let's get out of the city and enjoy the ride into the amazing countryside of Vietnam, that finally will lead me onto the legendary Ho Chi Minh Road, which is also known under the Vietnamese name of Duong Ho Chi Minh, with its southern side starting on the QL14C, somewhere in the Đắk Nông province near to the Cambodian border, and traversing through the Con Tum province and into the Truong Son mountain range to the far north of Hanoi. I learned that some parts was once upon a time the over 1,600 kilometer long and legendary Ho Chi Minh Trail, an elaborate system of jungle and mountain paths and trails that was used by the North Vietnamese to infiltrate troops and supplies into the southern parts of Vietnam for winning the war. But more of this later. For now, let's sit back and enjoy the ride out of Saigon City, as now seems to be the perfect time as many of the Vietnamese workers, including the truckers, and the company drivers take an extended lunch break, and that is already leading to a much quieter road, such as we can see now. And here we arrived at the Sông Bé Bridge, which is located a few kilometers south of the former Phuc Vinh U.S. Army base, which was responsible for the War Zone D area and in charge for protecting the Dong Nai River and the territory north of Bien Hoa City, as this was one of the infiltration route the Viet Cong and People's Army of Vietnam used during the war. The road bridge was initially built during the French colonial era and spanning the Bi River here in the Ben Duong province and supporting the expansion of rubber plantations in this area. Then the first time the bridge was destroyed was during the war against the French by the army of the Viet Minh. Then during the Vietnam War the Americans came and built over the large gap with a military bridge in order to carry the passing trucks and let the bridge serve as the connecting highway between Phuoc Vinh and Bien Hoa for the US troops during the Vietnam War, which seems to be logical. Anyway, after the American lost ground here in 1969 they destroyed the bridge for the second time and leaving again a large gap between the two ends. During the Vietnam War, this area here was a very hostile territory covered in dense jungle and rubber plantations, and with the town of Phuoc Vinh, a far 5 kilometers north as the closest fixed American installation. Guarding this area was a rather dangerous task even though it was within the artillery range from Phuoc Vinh. And as of today the bridge is more or less in the same condition as it was during the war and declared as a protected provincial relic, and thus making it one of the rare sites where one will get a glimpse into the past of Vietnam's interesting history. So, if you are traveling on Road DT-741, which connects the town of Phuoc Hoa and Phuoc Vinh, just take a break and use one of the 2 access roads that are located on each side of the river. The bridge is a few hundred meters away from the main road and can easily be visited. And here we just entered the city of Dong Xoai, which is the capital city of the Ben Phuoc province, and this was during the Vietnam War, the site of the 1965 Battle of Đồng Xoài. I learned that it was indeed a major battle that was lasting for 4 days and which was fought during the Vietnam War as part of the Viet Cong summer offensive of the very same year, and it took place between Wednesday, June the 9th and lasted until Sunday the 13th. Even though the Viet Cong had won a victory over the Army of the Republic of Vietnam, which was then the ground forces of the South Vietnamese military from its inception in 1955 until to the fall of Saigon on Wednesday the April 30th of 1975, and which was during the Vietnam War supported by the American units. However, the Viet Cong's victory over the Army of the Republic of Vietnam was a bittersweet one, as the Viet Cong suffered heavy casualties, which was further complicated due to the rainy season that deteriorated the main roads so badly that they even been struggling to evacuate their dead and wounded comrades. Interestingly, this was also the time when the North Vietnamese Transportation Group 559, then under the leadership of Major General Phan Trong Tuy, was ordered to open new transportation and communication lines that lead through southern Laos and South Vietnam to facilitate the movement of troops and material through the Prathit Lao occupied section of the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which was also called the Annamite Trail, which in Vietnamese is called the Duong Mon Ho Chi Minh, and the Duong Truong Son. And these was their logistical network of roads and trails that were running from Vietnam's far northern parts all the way down to South Vietnam, and through the kingdoms of Laos and Cambodia. And as we are now traversing through the province of Ben Phuoc, which is often overlooked by the mainstream tourists, let me tell you that this province is like a hidden trove that offers rich natural landscapes, as well as a variety of attractions that is not only catering to nature lovers and history enthusiasts but also to adventure seekers, such as the Bu Gia Map National Park, which is a pristine natural reserve. Then there is the Ba Ra Mountain, which is standing at 736 meters in height, and the Suoi Lam Lake, which is a serene and picturesque spot ideal for relaxation and leisure activities. For history and culture buffs, they have the Ta Thiet military base, which is a historical site that played a crucial role during the Vietnam War, or the Suc Boom Bo village, which is a cultural site where we can experience the traditional lifestyle of the Stang ethnic minority. And last but not least, the Lady Tien Hau Temple, which is located in Dong Xoai City, and which is a beautiful and serene temple that is dedicated to the Lady of the Sea, which is a deity worshipped by the local Chinese community, so this province should not be underestimated even though it is not very well known by us visitors. And now we arriving at the beautiful THÁC Mo Reservoir and Lake, here in the province of Bình Phước, which also serves as a hydropower plant and water supply for the entire region. And it is needless to mention that once I left the big city of Saigon behind me, the ride here on the countryside road was so far easy and mostly traffic-free with stunning scenery all around me. Okay, yes, I occasionally swerve to avoid motorbikes and kids on their electric scooters that joint the main road, coming out from the side roads without even looking at the traffic, and occasionally also had to slow down my ride for herds of livestock that has been ambling along their way as if they owned the roads for themselves. But despite these minor interruptions, the ride under this beautiful neon blue sky that is dotted and permeated with white clouds was so far a pure joy, so that the time flew by so fast without me even noticing that I am already 4 hours into my adventure. And even though I am not yet at my final destination, I am still energized by all these breathtaking surroundings and look forward to the remaining stretch and will be trying to arrive before the sun is setting. So let's continue the journey without further ado. We just crossed into the Đắk Nông province, which is known as the homeland of epics, gongs, and legendary stories. It is located in the space of the Gong culture here in the Central Highlands, which has been recognized by UNESCO as masterpieces of the oral and the intangible heritage of humanity. It is interesting to know that the Gong culture sees gongs as a privileged connection between men and the supernatural, where each gong houses a deity whose power corresponds to the gong's age. Unfortunately, this unique culture has been strongly affected by economic and social transformations, even to the point that it is disrupting the traditional transfer of knowledge and completely stripped the gongs of their spiritual significance. Moreover, the Đắk Nông province is also famous for the Dray sap and the Dray twin waterfalls, that are also known as the smoke waterfalls, and which are one of the most impressive waterfalls here in the Central Highlands. Then they have the Ta Dung Lake, which is often referred to as the Ha Long Bay of the Central Highlands, due to its breathtaking beauty and its numerous small islands. Another highlight is the Chu Bluk volcano, which is the largest extinct volcano here in Vietnam, and which is featuring a unique volcanic landscape and numerous lava tubes. Also worth to mention is the Nam Nung Nature Reserve, which is a protected area that is known for its rich biodiversity and cultural significance, as well as the Yak Don National Park, which is located partially in the Đắk Nông province as well as in the Dak Lak province, and is one of the largest nature reserves here in Vietnam. and that already makes me very excited to explore this region even more. And as we are now arriving in the city of Gia Nghĩa, it is interesting to know that this town was also once home to the camp of Gia Nghĩa Special Forces, that was set up in 1966, and was located around 5 kilometers east of Gia Nghĩa and run by the former U.S. Army and the Army of the Republic of Vietnam. It also witnessed 2 crashes, with one of them occurring on Monday the 12th of February in 1968. And this accident involved a versatile Bell utility helicopter which was commonly known as the Huey, and which crashed on a night medevac mission to Gia Nghĩa, and with a total of 4 crewmen missing which have been presumed killed in action. And the other one crashed on a landing approach on Wednesday the 17th of December 1969, and this one was a USAF Fairchild C-123K provider. This aircraft is a short-range assault transport plane that was used for airlifting troops and cargo to and from small and unprepared airstrips. The casualty of this crash was 1 person. The base has since been converted into a more productive farmland. Now this city is not really that well known to foreigners, and so it is not that surprising that it is hard to find any stories about the past of this town in the English literature. However, I learned from some locals that Gia Nghĩa was actually a fierce war zone during the Vietnam War. I have been told by the locals that the US troops sent even their B-52 bomber planes to drop various bombs all over Gia Nghĩa, including landmines and frog mines, which is a type of bounding mine that is designed to launch into the air and detonate, and dispersing shrapnels all over the surrounding areas. And it is needless to say that these mines caused significant casualties, including injuries and amputations. Then after the war finished, Gia Nghĩa was sparsely populated as many people that fled the town didn't return yet, and so it faced many difficulties because of its low starting point, overcoming the heavy consequences in the aftermath of the Vietnam War. Thanks to the Communist Party, the Vietnamese Liberation Army, and the endless government efforts, many of the Gia Nghĩa people finally returned, and the town's independence was slowly achieved once again, which helped to triumph over the difficulties and develop the economy successfully, and leading the city into the right direction with commercial growth that reached a whopping 8% during the last year. Moreover, the future of this city seems to look very bright, with residents telling me that the national road network has 2 expressways in the pipeline, with the first one being the Gia Nghĩa to the Chon Ton in Bình Phuc province connection. And the second project will be connecting Gia Nghĩa to Buon Ma Thuột in the Dak Lak province, and therefore shortening the travel time to Ho Chi Minh City to only 2 hours. Then there is the railway extension of the National Railway Network, which is planning to build the Đắk Nông to Chon Ton railway line, which is part of the railway system that is interconnecting the provinces here in the Central Highlands. And with all these promising mega projects on the table, we can expect huge developments that will certainly help Gia Nghĩa to grow even more fast in the near future. Now after this interesting and amazing ride, escaping from Saigon and traversing across the Vietnam countryside here to Gia Nghĩa in the beautiful province of Đắk Nông. That took me a bit more than 6 hours. I will end my video now and here. Thanks a lot for watching, and I am looking forward to see you back in my next part, when I will explore the lesser known city of Gia Nghĩa and its interesting surroundings. So don't miss it, and cheers to all of you, and see you again in my next episode of discovering the hidden side of Vietnam's last frontiers.